Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castro.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
Tropical Depression Krising is forecasted to reach tropical storm category today, July 17. Krising, together with the enhanced southwest monsoon, is expected to bring rains over parts of Luzon and Visayas.
The Senate Impeachment Court is expected to push forward with the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte shortly after the SONA.
The Justice Department has ordered the exhumation of 3 unclaimed bodies buried in Batangas, suspected to be among the missing Sabongeros.
The Department of Health has raised concern over the high rate of stunting among Filipino children. DOH warns stunting affects not just growth, but brain development.
First in the news, Tropical Depression Krising maintains its strength while moving west-northwestward off the coast of Bicol region. Let's get more updates from Pagasa weather forecaster John Manalo. John, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you din po, and good morning po.
All right, John, give us some updates on Krising. No, where was it last spotted, and what areas is it currently in right now?
Yes, actually, ito po ay nasa 530 kilometers east ng Uban, Sorsogon. East po ito ng Bicol region na may maximum sustained winds malapit sa sentro ng bagyo na 55 km per hour. Gustiness or yung pagbugso ng hangin na maaaring umabot ng 70 km per hour. At ina-expect natin na yung movement niya na northwest generally ay papunta sa northern part ng ating Luzon. At nakikita natin na habang papalapit ito ay magkakaroon ito ng interaction dun sa southwest monsoon natin. Kaya bukod sa mga paulan na dadalhin nitong tropical depression sa ngayon na magiging tropical storm soon na si Krising, asahan din natin na yung western part ng southern Luzon, ganun din sa western Visayas ay makakaranas din ng mga malalakas na pag-ulan.
John, kailan natin naasahan yung araw kung kailan lalakas itong si Krising?
Sa susunod po na mga oras, within 24 hours, ay ando na po yung development niya. Pero ang mahalaga din po ay yung paglapit niya sa ating kalupaan dahil mas marami yung maapektuhan sa atin at yung interaction niya dito sa southwest monsoon.
So, John, yung mga storm signals na inasahan natin, particularly also in NCR, Metro Manila, ano yung pinakamataas na ma-expect natin dito?
Posible po tayo na umabot sa signal number 3, which 88 to 117 km per hour yung bilis ng hangin na yun. Kaya gusto rin natin i-remind, I would like to take this opportunity na paalalahanan yung ating mga kababayan, lalo na kung medyo unstable yung mga bubong natin at dun papunta yung bagyo, I think this is the best time para i-repair natin yan. Also, yung mga drainage natin na barado sa tabing bahay natin, baka pwedeng ito yung gamitin nating opportunity to clear those clogged drainage or mga canals.
So, John, klaruhin ko lang, signal number 3 sa Metro Manila, kailan to bukas?
Hindi po. Yun po yung maximum.
Maximum possible.
Yung na posible. Also, ito po ay intended for Northern Luzon. Dito po sa Metro Manila, ang main na makaka-apekto sa atin ay yung interaction ng southwest monsoon dito kay Tropical Depression Krising.
Okay.
Having said that, John, ano bang mas mararamdaman dito kay Krising ng mga affected areas? More on hangin o more on tubig ulan?
Gusto po natin i-emphasize yung mga pag-ulan dahil nakikita natin yung extension ng mga clouds na associated both sa southwest monsoon at dito sa TD Krising. Pero gusto din natin na banggitin na kung saan po papunta yung bagyo, dun po sila makakaranas ng malalakas na pag-ulan. Also, iba po yung tropical cyclone warning signal natin dun sa rainfall advisory natin. Yung tropical cyclone warning signal, intended po ito sa lakas ng hangin. At yung rainfall advisory natin ay intended dun sa dami ng ulan.
So, kailan natin naasahan ang paglabas sa Philippine Air Responsibility nitong Krising?
Nakikita po natin na by Monday, even Sunday, depende po kung hindi magbabago yung bilis at yung track niya, ay nakikita natin na palabas na po ito by Sunday evening or Monday ng umaga.
All right. Any other weather disturbances, John, we should watch out for?
Sa ngayon po ay wala pa, may nakikita lang po tayo ng mga cloud clusters pero monitor po natin ito para sa posibleng maging development niya sa mga susunod na araw. At sa ngayon po ay mag-focus tayo at paghandaan po natin lalo na sa Northern Luzon yung paparating na tropical depression Krising.
All right, thank you. That was Pag-asa weather specialist John Manalo. The Philippines has appealed to foreign governments for assistance in rescuing Filipino victims trapped in scam hubs across Southeast Asia. The Department of Foreign Affairs said it continues to receive reports of trafficked Filipinos in countries like Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. Families with information about relatives near the Myanmar-Thai border are urged to contact the Philippine embassies in Yangon and Bangkok. The government also reminds Filipinos to follow proper deployment procedures set by the Department of Migrant Workers to avoid trafficking risks.
And to talk more about this issue, we are joined by Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Ed De Vega. Good morning, Yusek. Thanks for joining us again. Yusek, can you hear us okay? Yusek? We'll try to get a hold of Yusek para mas mabigyan tayo ng iba pang detalye tungkol nga dito dahil ang dami ng mga kinasasangkutan ng ating mga OFWs sa iba't ibang bansa. Recently nga itong mga scam hubs na may mga pag-torture pang nangyayari. They are lured, 'di ba, to work outside of our country.
Call center daw.
Sinasabi may mga BPO opportunities sa kanila, but when they get to the country of origin, yun na. Country of destination, yun na iba pala yung ibibigay sa kanilang trabaho.
Tapos kung tatry mong umalis o tumakas o umayaw, pag nandun ka na sa territory nila or sa area nila, wala na. They will torture you. Like, pinakita yung kinukuryente, di ba? Hina-handcuff sa kama. So, sila, with the guys kasi, pero ang pag-exit kasi nila, sinasabi tourist visas lang. So, ang reminder ever since ng mga OWA, tsaka ng DOLE and DFA, walang ganon. If you're being asked to work abroad, usually, ang legit company will already fix your papers firsthand and ask you.
Working visa
Or they will not even hire you kung wala kang working visa.
Totoo. At saka nangyayari pa madalas ata, if I'm not mistaken, dun sa mga reports din natin, yung sasabihin sa'yo, kunyari, Vietnam, tapos yung pala, dadalhin ka sa Malaysia or whatever.
Dito yun.
Diba?
Parang itong kaso, di ba, Bangkok daw, Thailand, no? Tapos pagdating doon, parang they drove to a different area. Oo.
Kaya, diba,
cross-border sila, cross-border.
Right. Okay, so do we have Yusek De Vega on the line right now?
Balikan na lang natin later.
Okay, sige.
Alright, heavy rains from the Habagat caused severe flooding in several parts of Cebu on Wednesday, July 16. Here's the report.
The streets of Barangay Mabolo in Cebu City turned into rivers as flood waters rose chest deep following heavy rains. Rescuers waded through submerged neighborhoods to evacuate stranded residents. Many evacuees, especially children, were given life jackets. Rescuers also carried family pets to safety. In downtown Cebu, vehicles struggled to pass through the rising waters, some nearly stalling in the middle of the road. In Talisay City, flooded levels were so high that a car was seen floating down the street. Drone footage captured the wide expanse of muddy water in the Tabunok area. Several homes were inundated, with water breaching doorsteps and soaking furniture inside.
In other news, Representatives Chel Jokno and Zia Alonto Adyong are calling for the Senate to act on the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte, saying the delay undermines constitutional duty. Mobile Journal Amy Atienza has the story.
In a recent SWS survey, 66% of the Filipinos believe Vice President Sara Duterte should face the impeachment court. Two members of the House also look forward in this battle of accountability. 5 months have passed since the House of Representatives submitted the articles of impeachment, and now they continue to wait for the action of the Senate Impeachment Court. New member of the House Prosecution Panel, Chel Jokno, recognizes that while the public also waits for the next step, they become more eager for the impeachment trial to begin and become more aware of the situation.
We only have so much patience. Ito ay isang utos ng ating konstitusyon na dapat matagal nang nagawa o nasunod, pero hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa rin nangyayari.
Lanao del Sur 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adyong also says that the recent survey serves as a direct expression of the public clamor on the impeachment.
There's really a clamor ng ating taong bayan na dapat yung public clamor for accountability ng mga issues na hindi nasagot ay dapat masagot sa tamang paraan, which is this case, the impeachment trial.
But aside from the impeachment concerns, the two lawmakers also had their own views on the issue of online gambling. Jokno considers that there should just be restrictive measures, while Adyong supports the notion of a total ban in online gambling.
Yung isang issue kasi dyan ay pag ginawa natin yung total ban, ang isang malaking maaaring mangyayari ay totally mag-underground itong mga online gambling platforms. At mas mahihirapan ng pamahalaan na sumpuin yung problema.
Akin lang, very basic po ang aking proposal at aking gusto. If you want to remove the poisonous tree, you uproot it, not to trim the branches.
Mobile journalist Amy Achanza, we are One News.
Senate Impeachment Court spokesperson Attorney Reginald Tongol says Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial could begin as early as July 29. Here's the report.
With the opening of the 20th Congress nearing, Senator Joel Villanueva shared yesterday the possible timeline of the impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte. He said, according to talks with fellow senator judges, the reconvening of the Senate as the impeachment court might take place a week after President Bongbong Marcos's State of the Nation address.
And it looks like we are just going to wait for 1 week to organize ourselves as a Senate, yung mga committees, etc., leadership, at ang House, ganun din po. And then, the week after, we can convene the impeachment court and have the defense and the prosecution present their cases.
However, according to impeachment court spokesperson Attorney Reggie Tongol, some senators might also move for the earlier convening of the impeachment court on July 29.
We expect that the senators will need to vote on whether or not they will convene on the afternoon of July or whatever date that they will set by July 29. And I think the presiding officer is listening to all the senators.
He also clarified that while there is a wait for the trial to set, the Senate impeachment court will proceed with the trial absent any temporary restraining order issued by the Supreme Court, because it is expected that the senators may have opposite opinions on the continuity of the impeachment along their monitoring of public sentiments. It would be up to them to decide on what course they will take.
It's a welcome development. That the process is being seen as something that can actually continue, but at the same time, the public should also not tire in trying to reach out to their senators and the other officials regarding the process itself.
Attorney Tongol also added that the impeachment court, like any other court, has the power to dive into any information it wants to be clarified.
The impeachment court has inherent powers to do its due diligence in inquiring into the facts regarding the matters that are put before it decides. So it is just a matter of using that inherent powers to get the information so that it can decide on the issue at hand.
Mobile journalist Mary Reyes, we are One News.
But so far, successful naman ang Senate in delaying the
Pero
impeachment trial.
it's actually, I read an article, I forgot sino nag-pen nitong article. It's very simple lang naman daw. Transmit ng Congress, Senate has no recourse but to put it to trial. And then yung mga sinasabi ni spokesperson Tongol na about yung mga questions it may raise about jurisdiction and whatnot, the defense team of VP Sara can raise that during the course of the trial. Ngayon, if there are any issues with regards to yung jurisdiction, proper handling of the transmittal, hindi na trabaho ng Senado yan. Basta nasa kanila na they will continue the trial. Ang mangyayari dyan, somebody could raise an issue with the Supreme Court towards Congress on how they handled the transmittal. Pero yung trial, matutuloy lang. Ang i-questionin lang, yung the manner of which they na-approve ba, may problema ba with yung Sergeant at Arms or sa office ng pag-transmit, di ba, ano ba yung role within Congress? That's a separate issue. Pero automatic, dapat tinakal na nila. Tapos, to monitor public sentiment. Ba't monitor ka ng public sentiment?
Well, yun nga sinasabi natin time and again, di ba? We've been discussing this already na even the other legal luminaries are saying na it's their constitutional duty to try, 'di ba? Itong impeachment trial na inihain nga dyan sa Senate Impeachment Court. Pero ang nangyayari is full of delays, no? And yun nga yung possibility na sinasabi ni Senator Joel Villanueva na baka August 4 pa because they have to do this and that, ayusin pa, etc. So, yung iba, syempre, sabi nila, sige, right after SONA, tapusin natin to July pa lang. Yung mga bagong elected officials, yung 12 nung nanalo ng midterm elections, paano mo na sila, mag-oath na sila, diba? So, yung mga sinasabi nila. And also, we've seen a lot of surveys as well saying na even this one, the latest one, saying na 6 out of 10 Filipinos would want nga to push through this trial. Kumbaga, gusto na nila, iba na yung usapin ng kung gusto ba nila ma-acquit yung si VP Sara or not. Pero sinasabi nila, gusto nila makita yung ebidensya, ituloy yung trial because that is on our Constitution.
Sabi nga, I spoke to sa in-interview ko si Attorney Kim Henares, ang problema daw ng mga politiko today is ang service nila is not to the country, rather utang nila sa pasok sa kanila sa politika, utang nila sa partido, utang nila sa kapwa-senador na naglagay sa mga committees nila. In other words, in essence, sinasabi niya, nawawala ng yung patriotism. In other words, nandyan kayo, you have to remind these senators and congressmen, nandyan kayo to serve the country. Diba? And it's very basic, the letter of the law. Pag na-transmit, i-try nyo. Ngayon may faulty yung...
You wanna see the evidence.
Faulty yung evidence.
Maling
evidence,
acquit mo, diba? Wala Wala palang laman.
Kaya nga may word acquittal
due process yun.
Kaya nga, diba, in the court, diba, sabi nila, without a reason of a doubt, diba? Diba? Mga ganun
Kaya pero sabi nga nila, we can expect also mag-unahan sa podium yung mga senador once the impeachment court is convened again, di ba, for the trial after SONA.
One speech per senator, 24 senators, 3 minutes each. So, 24 senators times 3 minutes.
Mag-unahan sila niyan.
48, 68, 72 minutes. Wow.
Definitely mag-uunahan sila.
Mag-explain ng nila.
No surprise if Senator Bato de la Rosa would go to the podium. At sinabi naman niya to sa mga interview niya.
Last option daw niya,
na meron bang, diba, meron bang jurisdiction ng 20th Congress dun sa 19th Congress na pinanggalingan nga nitong pag-file ng impeachment.
Bato-bato sa langit.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla has ordered the exhumation of 3 unclaimed bodies buried in Batangas to determine if these belong to any of the missing sabongeros. Here's the report.
At a public cemetery in Laurel, Batangas, police spent nearly 5 hours digging up a section where 3 unidentified bodies were buried. The exhumation was ordered by the Department of Justice to determine whether the remains were among the missing sabongeros.
Basta ngayon, we're reviewing the other people who were found that were buried. Pinalilibing ng pulisya pag wala nag-claim sa funeraria. So pinapa-exhume natin ngayon.
The bodies were buried in different years and reportedly recovered from various mountain areas in Laurel. According to the cemetery caretaker,
nire-report lang sa akin na kayo mag-ready mag-hukay. Tapos pag pinakahukay, sasabihin na idadali na dito. Hindi ko naman na itatanong kung saan nakuha, kung saan talatanggap lang ako.
The Batangas police have yet to release further details. Meanwhile, on the 6th day of the search at Taal Lake, divers from the Philippine Coast Guard completed scanning the first quadrant, the area pointed to by alias Totoy as the supposed dumping ground for the victims. Covering 13,000 square meters, the team relied heavily on a remote-operated vehicle, or ROV. While the ROV helped speed up scanning, only mud and trash have been retrieved so far. No substantial evidence related to the case has been found. Justice Secretary Remulla also met with officials from the Japanese embassy to request assistance in the DNA testing for remains recovered from Taal Lake and other possible sites.
Although we have a very competent crime lab in a police crime lab and an NBI crime lab capable of looking at DNA, we're looking at the best possible persons who can help us also. Kasi this is not an easy task. We need all the help that we can get.
Ayun, sabi nga ni Secretary Boying Remulla in one of his interviews, sabi niya, we have videos of abduction. Now, if they could find bodies nga na ito nga yung and prove na ito yung mga missing sabongeros, then it will be easier for them now.
Maganda nga yung link
for the case.
Maganda yung link eh. Yung video ng abduction, kung sino yung ina-abduct. Tapos yung testimony ni Totoy. Tapos yung body kung saan nakuha. Tapos pag binangga mo pa sa DNA evidence yan, at yung proven, yung kinuha sa video, kunyari, for example, yung kinuha sa video na yon, proven na yung DNA niya, siya yung nasa lake, tapos tinuro pa ni alias Totoy, it's very strong case. Kaya ang sinasabi ni Secretary Remulla, even though may mga buto na ayaw niya yung papasok sa korte at mag-file ng case circumstantial evidence. Siyempre na...
Gusto niya sabay-sabay na. And he even said...
He wants a strong case.
Oh, and he even said that yung search nila, yung search operations nila sa Taal Lake and other places could extend up to 6 months or so.
Yeah, oo.
Kasi depende daw yan kung, di ba? Kasi nga they have to expand the area pa. And yun nga, kausap naman natin yesterday yung sa PCG, yung spokesperson nila para dito
mga challenges
sa
nila.
na to. Oo, nahirapan sila, but they've already expanded the area. First, they went to the area kung saan sinasabi yung una, yung lake.
Fish
na
pond.
merong may pagmamayari doon, di ba?
Ng police.
Yes, oo. So right now, yung ibang mga na-retrieve from there are already yung mga yung remains are already in the PNP forensic group at para chine-check nga daw nila kung yun ay babangga doon sa DNA ng mga family, ng relative ng missing sabongeros. So yun muna, titignan din natin kung ano pa yung mga mangyayari dyan. Kasi tulad ng napag-usapan natin dito, sinasabi ng PNP, this is not the possible area, this is not the only possible areas ng mga pinag-dump ng body supposedly. Kasi meron pa rin daw dito sa Metro Manila and other areas, pero hindi pa nila dinidisclose. Siyempre, pero they have already secured the area, sabi nila, to avoid tampering of the evidence, if ever. So, ayun.
All right, former President Rodrigo Duterte dismissed as preposterous the alleged link between his drug war and the case of the missing sabongeros. Vice President Sara Duterte said she informed her father about the claims during a recent visit to the ICC detention center. The remarks came after Justice Secretary Boying Remulla told One News Morning Matters that there may be connections between the war on drugs and the disappearance of the sabongeros.
Binalitaan ko siya about sa mga missing sabongeros case. And then sinabihan ko siya na there is an attempt to link him to the missing sabongeros case. So sabi niya that is preposterous.
Vice President Sara also gave updates on her father, saying he is okay. She belied the photos circulating online showing her father in a hospital bed and looking frail. The Vice President also thanked her family's allies in the Senate, pushing for her father's house arrest.
Well, we thank them. We thank them for their concern for President Duterte, and we thank them for supporting the move for application for interim release of former President Duterte. So we are grateful to the senators for expressing this in a Senate resolution.
In other news, Senator Ping Lacson has refiled a bill that would penalize children who neglect or abandon their elderly, sick, or incapacitated parents. The proposed Parents Welfare Act of 2025 makes such abandonment a criminal offense with penalties including fines and imprisonment. The bill allows parents to petition for support through the courts with free legal aid from the Public Attorney's Office and mandates mediation before hearings. Lacson also proposes establishing government-run old age homes in every province and major city to care for neglected seniors. Yan, ako, medyo mainit yung yung issue na yan. Yesterday pa pinag-uusapan ng ibang mga tao kasi hindi daw kasi pare-parehas yung background ng lahat ng may mga magulang, of course. Others, meron silang, of course, yung maayos yung naging relasyon nila ng pamilya nila. Pero yung iba coming from trauma, abuse, and then you would mandate pa yung tao na yun to care for this. Kaya talaga nagkaroon ng diskusyon dito sa bill na to ni Senator Ping Lacson.
Magiging issue dito is in the fine print or the rules or how ano yung mga details sa pinopropose ni Senator Lacson. For example, kasi kung may government-run homes, kung hindi maganda ang relasyon ng kunyari isang anak sa magulang dahil may bad history sa kanila, it's also useless ipatuloy mo na ipagsama dalawa kasi pwede niya i-abuse yung magulang niya. So, if you read itong proposal niya, meron yung proposal niya, government-run homes for the aged. Pwede mga option, hindi kami nagkakasundo nito, imbis na i-abandon ko, I will take my father, mother sa government-run facility para maalagaan siya mas mabuti.
Yun nga yung sinasabi nila na to expand yung Senior Citizens Act, tapos nga yung para sa mga yung mga home for the aged, i-improve yung mga healthcare ng mga matatanda, but do not mandate daw yung iba.
Correct.
Pero nilinaw din naman, nag-post recently si Senator Lacson regarding, kasi nagkaroon nga ng diskusyon dito. Nasabi niya, yung mga may issue na, kunya inabuse sila ng magulang nila, inabandon sila, hindi naman daw sila kasama dun sa bill.
Yun ang sinasabi. Kaya nga, that's why yung makikita natin, kung ipasa tong law, yung yung detail sa loob, yun lang ang kailangan natin makita. Kasi kung blanket authority lang na di ba, binubugbog ka ng magulang mo, tapos iniwanan mo ng matanda.
May mga issue tayo ng sexually abused. Yung mga bata ng sarili nilang mga magulang or sila ay lumaki sa ibang bahay dahil binenta sila ng magulang nila. Yung mga ganun, pero somehow they still contacted them. Yun yung mga nakikitang loopholes nga sinasabi ng ibang mga tao na parang hindi naman yata tama yon to mandate that child na sagutin pa niya yung dahil matanda na siya. Pero yun nga, iba-iba yung natin, yung mga pinanggalingan natin. Like for example, ako sa magulang ko, like sa mama ko, hindi ko kailangan ng batas para alagaan ko nanay ko dahil I will take care of her. Yun yung natin. But for others, naiintindihan natin sila kung saan sila nanggagaling.
Basta ako kasi, taking care of parents or children is inherent with culture. And ang kultura ng Pilipino, hindi naman basta-basta. Kahit ayaw mo sa magulang mo, kultura natin, and based on faith also, it's natural for us Filipinos to take care of the elderly. Diba, sabi nga nila, ang layo daw, the way we take care of the elderly compared to sa US. Pagdating sa certain age, kahit hindi perwisyo yung mga magulang, nililipat nila sa home. So you don't need a law to teach the younger generation to do these things.
So,
it should be done inherently with love.
Yeah.
And kung ayaw mo gawin out of love, you shouldn't force somebody to do it. Kasi baka magka-boiling point tong bata at masaktan pa niya yung
diba,
matanda.
You're under arrest, parang gano'n, diba? So ito, may mga nilabas sa social media niya, ito si Senator Ping Lacson, para pabulaanan yung mga ibang issues regarding this. One would be, sinasabi kasi ng mga umiikot sa social media, the bill offers no exemption for estrangement due to abuse. Ang sinasabi ni Ping Lacson through his social media, sabi niya, kung ang anak ay nakaranas ng pang-aabuso ng magulang, wala siyang magiging pananagutan o obligasyon na magbigay ng suporta. Hindi pa hihintulutan ang mga magulang na humiling ng suporta sa mga anak kung sila ay ng abuso, nag-abandona, nagpabaya o nagdulot ng iba pang uri ng pisikal o emosyonal na pagpapahirap sa anak. Kasi isa itong ground for non-issuance of support order. Yun yung nililinaw niya doon.
No, parang abandonment ng bata. Pag iniiwan mo yung bata kung saan-saan, may batas ba doon? I don't...
But hopefully we can have Senator Ping Lacson over to discuss this proposed bill.
All right, in other news, the Philippines has appealed to foreign governments for assistance in rescuing Filipino victims trapped in scam hubs across Southeast Asia. The Department of Foreign Affairs said it continues to receive reports of trafficked Filipinos in countries like Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. Families with information about relatives near the Myanmar-Thai border are urged to contact the Philippine embassies in Yangon and Bangkok. The government also reminds Filipinos to follow proper deployment procedures set by the Department of Migrant Workers to avoid trafficking risks.
And now to talk more about this issue, we are joined by Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Ed De Vega. Good morning, Yusek. Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you again for joining us po. First and foremost, how many Filipinos are confirmed to be trapped in scam hubs across Southeast Asia? So, Yusek.
We can know the exact name, but the majority, a number, but the majority are in scam hubs in Myanmar. There would be about at least 89
Wow.
factories. One 75 and others 14. And they are, as before, in the Myanmar-Thailand border.
And how? Go ahead.
In Cambodia and Laos, but a smaller number. Maybe at most less than a dozen in each country. The bulk actually go to Myanmar or wind up in Myanmar.
And how many of these victims have already asked our help po para mapabalik dito sa ating bansa?
Yung 14, yung humingi ng tulong kasi meron silang representative doon. And I already met the families, at least 14, no? Tema po, tulad ng sinasabi namin, unlike the case in Laos or Cambodia where the governments, local governments, control the entire territory, in Myanmar, the area where the scam hubs are is controlled by rebel groups.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
We're not supposed to discuss with rebel groups, but maybe through intermediaries or so. Also, they seem to be in a further place than before kasi dati may mga nare-rescue pa yung Myanmar military or, but of course, our intervention. And of course, hindi lang mga Filipino, iba-ibang nationalities yun nandun. No? Also was very active in getting its citizens out. But now they seem to be deeper.
Right.
Rebel-controlled territory. That's the complication. It's also possible, in the case of the other group, the 75, it's also possible, despite in our calls for people not to wind up there, that they are willing to be there. Kasi, to be frank, some of them are actually second-time arrivals there. Namin, a handful. It's not like all of them. Based on the names we have, some of them were already repatriated. Maybe they tried again because may I explain the modus operandi para sa mga kababayan natin. They are lured by social media. And they're not all in the Philippines. These Filipinos, some of them might be in third countries, usually the Middle East, like in the UAE, for example. No, so they would be promised jobs, legitimate jobs, as usually data processing, computers, guest relations officers in Bangkok or in Thailand. They are promised that they don't need visas, which is true. Asylum citizens can travel to Thailand with visas. But what they're not told, or what they ignore possibly, is that to work there, you, like any country, you still need a work visa.
Yes.
Thailand has been very insistent on that, talking to us and other neighbors to inform your citizens. It's not true that they can just come here and work, get there and find work. So what happens when they get there, they are brought by land to the border and cross the Thailand-Myanmar border, and what they wind up doing is scamming. Kasi magagaling to sa computers. So Pilipino sila, and I can see some videos. If you don't deliver on the quota, you may be physically harmed. So, thank you for this because it gives us opportunity, and DMW is also doing it, to remind people na kailangan dumaan sa proseso para ma-deploy. Kasi that way, may mas madaling protection sa inyo ng pamahalaan, hindi lang natin, pero ibang pamahalaan din kasi alam natin sino yung employer, sino yung agency. At kung hindi pwede, kunyari, we will not allow sa Myanmar. In the first place, in Myanmar, we're under alert level 2, which means only those who are returning to Myanmar under legitimate contracts, and there are a few, in the main cities, controlled by the government in Naypyidaw, the official capital. There are a few, in fact, over 100 in legitimate jobs there. Pwede silang magbakasyon sa Pilipinas, bumalik. Pero bagong employees sa Myanmar, no. Now, of course, they're told is Thailand. So maybe itong mga recidivists, yung mga bumalik, nagbakasakali, baka this time,
Legit.
we'll get jobs. And then, again, the same thing happens. They wind up being forced to cross the border and work there. So, we're reaching out to our allies in Southeast Asia and other countries, no, to see how we cooperate in getting our citizens out.
Yusek, I was wondering kung if ever ba, are we also looking at the possibility na meron din ibang mga Pinoy na maaring kasabot nila sa pag-recruit sa mga Pinoy dito sa Pilipinas to go there para maging empleyado sa mga scam hubs?
Definitely, alam to ng Interagency Council Against Trafficking. Kaya pag inuuwi namin, if I may give some statistics,
Opo.
About 480 have been repatriated for the past few years, no? 480 from Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand. The bulk, over 300, were from Myanmar and we were able to have them cross back to Thailand and bring them from there. So, ang pag-uwi nila, the IACAT under the DOJ also meets them and gets their testimony to see if they can file charges. And what they say is that Filipino naman ng apparently
nagyakag sa kanila.
Sa what do you call it, sa email. Filipino din kasi Tagalog yata yung salita or what, no? And well, that's the situation. By the way, it could be worse, It could be worse. Bakit? Right now, there may be some who complain why they're being offloaded. The BI is offloading at the main airports na NAIA those who are supposed to fly to Southeast Asia's tourists, but whom they know will probably be working there and wind up being trafficked. Of course, if you have a work visa, probably work visa, you go. But if not, they'll be very careful screening you. And some, they offload. Possibly every day they offload some. And without that, there might be more, no? Ang nangyari, therefore, some of them don't even fly the normal route.
Yes,
They might go to the south and then by boat to Malaysia, and then from there wind up Bangkok, and then from Bangkok nadadala. So that by itself is already a red flag. So mga kababayan po, we reiterate, pass through the legal process because we can't protect you as well as we can if you are in territory not controlled by legitimate governments, and it will take time for us to get you out. So mga Pilipino nga ang recruiter. In fact, some of those who are working there are probably recruiters of some of the others who are there.
Damay na. Pero I was wondering, go ahead, Sec.
No,
I was wondering, Yusek, if the remaining number of the Filipino victims ng scam hubs na to, yung mga families ba nila have already reported na hindi na nila nakakausap itong mga kamag-anak nila na supposedly nga nagtatrabaho abroad?
Yes, some ni-report po yan. So, wine-verify natin yan. No? But mostly, may minsan-minsan nakaka-contact. But sometimes what they send would be distressing videos or images, no? Although, truth be told, some of these pictures that they send, well, first, they never show the faces, no? Itong mga injured, yung mga may pasa sa likod, ganyan. These are the same pictures, some of them, that we've seen for years. Parang recycle, no? So, what's the issue there? Because para makauwi daw, sasabihin ng itong mga employers, some of these employers would say, well, bayaran nyo yung ginastos namin sa inyo. Okay, but it's outrageous amounts because it should only be plane ticket maybe. Instead, they ask 50,000, 100,000, tapos ngayon umaabot ng 300,000, 400,000. So, it looks like another scam. And the Myanmar authorities have said if they pay the relatives Philippines get the money and send it or somehow makakaabot para bayaran yung release. In effect, it's some sort of ransom money. Reach the rebels. So it's not going to help either. So the best way to fight this, of course, we're working to bring home the Filipinos. So we're going to do what we can. Even the China angle will be explored. If China can use its strong connections with Myanmar and Thailand to have not just Chinese but all the other nationals removed, no? The thing is, yung pagbabayad ng ransom is out of the question, and the best way to solve this is not to be fooled. Senators such as Senator Risa Ontiveros, Senator Tulfo, they've already, Senator Franz Tolentino, they've had hearings on this.
Yeah.
So, alam ng mamamayan, alam niyo yung mamamayan na may scamming nangyari.
So go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
So Yusek, ano recourse ng mga humihingi ng rescue sa Myanmar? Kasi I've seen some unverified reports on social media. Hindi pa na-verify, no? Pero parang nagtatanong sila, do we escape if we have the chance, yung mga sa Myanmar, or do we wait for us to be rescued?
Rescue right now, we're working on that, but we're not the ones conducting rescues. Other groups will conduct the rescue, obviously. No? We can't violate the sovereignty of Myanmar. But others have been able to escape. Itong mga 400 plus, a lot of them left on their own, a lot of the nationals, and somehow reached the border where they could be assisted by us, where even Myanmar has some way to have them, and Thailand has some way. However, as I said, baka mas mahirap ngayon kasi they're going deeper.
Yes, that's right.
Out, no? By the way, in that connection, ito yung pwedeng gawin, and I will announce it if I may.
Go ahead po.
Ito yung Philippine Embassy sa Yangon, yung kanilang hotline. The Assistance National Hotline. It's +95 998 521 0991. I will repeat, +95 998 521 0991. If you want to contact Bangkok, because you're closer, to Bangkok, to Thailand at least, ang hotline is +66 819 897 6. I repeat, +66 819 897 116. And they'll advise you what they could do for you.
Okay.
I don't want to imply this, pero I'm pretty sure those 14 that I mentioned, mas mahirap yung rescue, parang stricto yung area doon, no? Pero they do want to go. I'm wondering about the 75 because a few months ago, I personally went to Naypyidaw and we discussed with the Myanmar authorities and also to Bangkok, and we were able to get out in a few weeks. Over 100 were rescued and brought out. Dapat sumama sila doon. I mean, it's possible they are willing to stay. Sana hindi, no? Because as Senator Risa Ontiveros said before, and other senators, Filipinos are not scammers. We're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pero yung when some of them gave us these pictures na recycled old pictures, who is sending these pictures? I mean, sino nagpapadala sa mga relatives dito? Baka yung employer. Baka yung employer para pay. Minsan nakarinig na kami ganito kung hindi kayo magbayad na, kunyari, 200,000, 300,000 pesos, papatayin namin the weekend. And then, of course, hindi mababayad ng kamag-anak. Hindi pinatay.
Of course.
So, people are scamming the relatives here too.
Wow.
It's a big problem.
Right. We will continue to get in touch with you. For the meantime, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Ed De Vega.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
In 2019, 27% or 3 in 10 Filipino children under 5 years old were stunted due to malnutrition, according to the DOST Food and Nutrition Research Institute. While that number dropped to 23% in 2023, the Department of Health said the problem remains critical. Health Secretary Ted Herbosa warned that stunting is not just about height. It affects brain development, learning, and a child's future. Regions with the highest stunting rates include Bicol, Eastern Visayas, and BARMM. Through the Philippine Multi-Sectoral Nutrition Project, the DOH urged local governments to prioritize child nutrition and address poverty, lack of education, and poor maternal health.
Stunting means your brain doesn't develop. Mga bansot yung mga bata. So if your area has a lot of bansot na tao, hindi ho yun cute. This is not just about statistics. It is a stolen future. It is a child who cannot concentrate in school. A young adult who was unable to reach their full potential. A community forever weighed down by what could have been.
Wala dapat Pilipinong bansot at stunted. Dapat lahat matatangkad at matatalino.
Everything gains meaning through the memories it carries. That's why one collector from Tondo, Manila has made it his mission to collect anything he considers childhood memorabilia. Para bigyan ng mukha ang balita, Mobile Journal JF Rivera.
Depende sa gusto mo. Kahit ano, pwede maging collectible items. Pero itong nakilala ko, ang mga koleksyon niya, marahil hindi nakilala ng makabagong henerasyon.
#Nostalgia Feels ang hatid ng mga movie posters, comic books, texts, coins, at mga lumang laruan na ito. At meron pa, pati raw ang cup na ginamit ni Comedy King Dolphy, meron siya. Ilan lang yan sa mga koleksyon ni Alvin Guanizo o mas kilala bilang Alvin Retro. Kung ang ibang kolektor daw mga mamahali ng kinokolekta, kay Alvin, simple lang daw.
Gusto ko lang kolektahin yung mga bagay na nilaro ko nung ako'y maliit pa. Yung childhood memorabilia. Kumbaga, hindi talaga siya yung katulad ng sa ibang kolektor na talagang gumagastos ng malaki. Kumbaga, alam ba, bibili ng mga action figures na napakamahal, bibili ng mga hard to find na items. Yung sa akin, sir, yung mga, hindi ganun eh, yung mga typical na nilalaro lang sa kalye noon. Pero may value na ngayon.
Ang ibang item pangaraw, galing sa mga nagbabakal bote.
Sila yung mga talagang nasa street. Sila yung mga sumasapo ng ano-anong mga binibigay. Minsan galing sa mga linis bahay. Ayan, minsan sa kanila na binibigay yung akala ng ibang basura na. Ngayon, pagka naturuan namin sila na itong bagay na to, hindi ito yung hinahanap namin, kapag ka meron silang nakita, nirerekta na nilang dalhin dito sa amin.
Sabi ni Alvin, hindi rin daw madali ang ginagawa niyang pagiging figure collector.
Pag sinabing figure, sir, kami sir yung mga talagang naghahanap ng mga bagay na usually hanap ng mga kolektor. Kami sir yung naghahanap kung saan-saan. Kami yung naglilibot, kami yung napapagod sa kakapunta sa kung saan-saan, kakahanap ng kung ano-ano, mga gamit, koleksyon na pwede naming ibenta sa mga kolektor.
Pero hindi rin daw sila ligtas sa mga scammer o yung nagpapanggap na may mga collectibles. Kaya sa mga nais din pasukin ng ganitong linya, ang payo niya.
Doon po sa mga kapwa ko, figure, umita't magtrabaho pa rin po tayo ng parehas. Lahat ng oras, mas matalino pa sana tayo at saka sana lahat naman po tayo pare-pares ang minibithin na mas umunlad pa. Sana po matupad.
Mukhang kalat man kung titignan, pero para sa iilan, isa itong paraan kung saan maaaring pagkapirahan. Kanya-kanyang diskarte lang yan. Mobile Journal, JF Rivera po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Signal Play introduces an exciting new storytelling format with its microdrama series. This innovative approach blends powerful performances with concise, engaging narratives ideal for today's fast-paced viewers. The microdramas explore a variety of themes including family conflicts, romance, mystery, and unconventional parenting. Featured titles include 3 Queens and a Baby, starring Christian Bables and TJ Valderrama. My Father's Last Wish with Gerard Madrid and Don Chang. I See You featuring Cedric Juan. A Cure Called Love starring Dylan Minor and Micah Santos. And Baker's Heart with Paulo Angeles and Queen Ai. All episodes are available for streaming exclusively on Signal Play.
I believe the saying yung parang love conquers all, and kahit despite kung ano man situation mo or kung ano man nangyayari sa buhay mo, as long as you love the person, mamahalin mo kahit ano pang nangyayari sa'yo.
It's a mixture of TV, film, and theater actually. Kasi parang minsan kailangan sasabihin sa amin ni Direk Chris na ito yung cutting point natin, so kailangan ka end high.
Alright, before we let you go, I'd like to leave you with a quote. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. From Helen Keller. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angelo Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.